Okay, it's about 7:04. We're at 7:03. We're going to call to order the meeting of the Clintonville Area Commission's Zoning and Variance Committee. Andrea Purnell and Jason McVani have excused absences. But I will double check my email to make sure I don't have anything from Michael Hong. I circulated draft minutes from the previous meeting. Did anyone have any changes? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Approved 5-0. I'm going to say this both at the beginning and end of the meeting, but just a reminder, just like this month, next month's meeting will be a week earlier than normal on December 17th.
Do you have anything?
No, not yet. But we're going to start, I went in numerical order, start with BZA 25132, 4255 North High. And to construct an addition on the building, they want variances to building form, facade, and entries as described in the agenda. Now, the way you do this is you get the floor, I'll pull up your PowerPoint, then we have questions from the committee. The commissioner is, you're the commissioner for the district, can give a report after you do it. He basically can chime in anytime he wants. Then we have questions from the committee. Then we do questions and comments from any member of the public. And normally we just say, let them have their say, and then we give you a chance to say something when they're done. Then it comes back to a motion, here for a motion and discussion and vote. So you have the floor, please. Say
Perfect.
Let me pull up your PowerPoint.
Okay. Right up there.
Let's see. Yeah, here, just. See my slideshow. Where do I start?
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here and for the opportunity to have us share with you our thoughts on this new project. I'm here with Dr. Jillian Gray, her husband Evan Gray. She's the owner of Clintonville Pediatric Dentistry here in Clintonville. She purchased a property at 4255 North High Street. There's an existing building now. We're going to completely remodel the interior of that, add an expansion off the front so that we can create a space where she can relocate her existing practice within Clintonville to this building. So I'll attempt to kind of explain the scope as we see it of the project, and then I'll walk through kind of the variance requests and kind of go from there. So here's the building as is today. So this is the east and west elevation of the building currently. To your left is the east elevation facing High Street. To your right is the west facing the alley. This is the current north and south elevation. The left is to the north, the right is to the south. So this is the site plan of how we're designing the future of this project. You can see here, this is the existing building, and then this is going to be a big portion of the project is we're adding approximately 1,500 square foot addition to the front, which will butt up to the existing front of the building all the way to the front setback of the property. This is going to allow the space to be large enough and accommodating enough for Dr. Gray to add more operatories, create more space for her employees and her patients to kind of grow her business within Clintonville. Parking will be one-way street off of High Street into the back. So patients will park in the rear of the property, and then they'll walk around entryway into the side, as I'll explain here in a minute. This is the proposed east and west elevation, so basically the front and the back of the building. You can see the east is essentially going to be the front of the expansion facing High Street with windows, And then the back, the west elevation, you can see stays the same with the existing building, and then you see the jog out of the expansion to the left. And then that is going to be the proposed entry into the space off the back side of the expansion. Here's the north and south proposed elevations. So not a lot has changed here outside of, you can see the expansion portion on the front of the building. The north elevation obviously is going to be that kick out of the new space with windows. And then we are going to be taking out the drive-through canopy along that north elevation as well. And then just for some context on a floor plan, this is going to be her space. We're really utilizing that front expansion portion as a waiting area. And then really the existing building worked out nicely for basically a corridor for her operatories and her clinical space. And so we're going to continue that through into the expansion so that she's got more operatory space for growth, and in addition to the waiting room in that front area. So the first variance request is to reduce the first floor ceiling height from 12 feet to a mixture between 8'10" to 9'8". And I'll bring up this this floor plan again to reiterate this. Essentially, you know, this obviously is not a from scratch building. We're tying the old building into a new. So in an effort to try to be efficient with costs and with just aesthetics of tying the buildings together and the roof lines, we've hit some challenges in reinventing that ceiling height throughout to 12 feet. So what we're proposing is we get up to 9'8" in that expansion area with the pitch of the roof. But then for the most part throughout, we're at about 8'10". There is some function to that also with a dental office, you know, being an operatory room to have, you know, some sound insulation, and also there's some equipment that hangs from the ceiling that can kind of go over the patient that helps with functionality there with that ceiling height. So that's why the request there on that variance 1. Variance request 2 is to reduce the ground floor facade from 60% transparency to 43% transparency. And I'll go back to this east elevation. So essentially the way that we have the floor plan laid out, that blank area there in the brick is her front waiting desk area. So being that we've taken up most of the space in the front of the property, you know, we're really abutting closely to that sidewalk and the street, and there's kind of an uncomfortable privacy situation being at a healthcare facility. They'll be looking through that window into the front part of the facility. So we're requesting a variance to do 43%, which is, we've got two essentially 8 by 8 windows, and then that 8 by 4 window is through the hallway there, through our corridor. And then we've got that space that we've considered, you know, perhaps doing like a logo sign there or something to eat up some of that space, but that was our request for variance 2. And then variance request number 3 is to exclude a building entrance on the front street facade. So again, that's the east elevation. And I'll just kind of point back to our site plan and to just reiterate how close we are to the street and the sidewalk on High Street. Very, very busy, obviously a very busy portion of High Street. With the way that we would have to lay out the building for a front entry, it's very similar actually to how Dr. Jillian's practice is today on High Street. It's very front-facing facade. She's run into some issues in the past. So within her practice, she supports a lot of special needs children. And to her credit, she's investing money in this new space to really, you know, create a great environment to continue to do so on even a larger scale in the community. So we're running into a little bit of a safety issue based on some past experiences with just how close we are to the traffic. And again, we're less than 30 feet from what would be front facade door to busy traffic. And Jillian actually wanted to provide some context of that in the existing space.
So I did have an instance in my office where it was a nonverbal child with autism who was, a little dysregulated in my office, as they can be, who bolted out straight onto High Street, and a car slammed their brakes on and did not hit him. But it is one of the reasons that I really do not want to have a front-facing door out front. I do see a lot of kiddos with autism, and in my new space, I am specifically creating a room I'm calling it a sensory room for kiddos to try to feel more comfortable, to help prevent some of that dysregulation. But having that as a risk is something I really would love to avoid. So I don't want to witness any of that again.
So that's kind of the context around our third request, and that's really it. So appreciate your time. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. I should note that I did mail out notices to everyone that the city told us to, or asked us to, I guess I should say. I received no comments. I included one envelope to myself, and it arrived on Saturday at my house. Mark, Commissioner Moritz, I should say. Do you have a district report?
No, I didn't get any, nobody had contacted me.
Then, questions from the committee?
Congratulations on your expansion of your business. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Okay. With 10 Weber, the way they met their obligation for the window space was using shadow boxes. You know what I mean? Like you have a glass thing, and maybe you could have a display in there, like a big toothbrush and a toothpaste thing and stuff like that. So where you have that big gap, brick, where you said you might put up some art, some signage or stuff like that, you could still put a display window there.
Right.
And then you wouldn't need that variance to reduce the window space, but it would be more of a display window.
Okay.
And you said that the canopy, the drive-through canopy is gonna be taken down?
Yeah.
And you have the same number of parking spaces are not an issue?
Correct.
There's not much spaces for landscaping. There's not really landscaping space.
There's
No.
not.
Okay.
So
I
you're
didn't think
closer
so.
to the sidewalk than the North Star Plaza. Because the North Star Plaza sits back, has that
Well, and it has a
eatery
patio.
and the patio.
Right.
So you're like right up to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's no landscaping space.
Yes.
Didn't think so.
Yeah.
And everybody comes in from High Street and exits through the alley.
Yep.
Oh, that's only one way?
Coming in.
It will be.
It will be one way.
There's really not enough room for.
That was exactly why there wasn't enough space
Right.
with the existing drive-through, and then because our expansion is about level to where the drive-through currently is located. So yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we
just
so
one lane. But then you're in the parking lot, and then you're in
Right.
the alley, so you wouldn't wanna go back that way
Yeah,
anyway.
it's good.
I
traffic
do
flow.
think that would be helpful, not having people trying to turn left out onto High Street there too.
In order to get the full square footage that we need, we basically just let it right up to the clearance there, and then just push the one way to the back, so the building.
kind of unfortunate a little bit because, some landscaping in front of the building would look nice. But I mean, if you need to go to the sidewalk, you need to go to the sidewalk.
I'm trying to accommodate a long wait list. Like presently, if you called my office and asked to get your kid in for a new patient, we're scheduling in June of next year.
Seriously?
Yeah, so I'm trying
That's
to
awesome.
it's doubling the number of rooms, and then I'll have another provider with me to help just alleviate that, because that's not fair to kids to be like, no, I'll see you in 7 months.
How many employees do you have?
I have, 10. We are, I mean, we count, right?
Should too.
So 8.
I just started as my kindergarten, I went to Clinton, our kindergarten went to
Our
Clinton this
baby
year,
went to
so
school this year, so.
I'm a new employee.
So we
Well,
will-
if nothing, I don't know if there's even room for like potted plants or.
I am not objecting to having some
Just
potted
something
plants
to
there, yeah.
soften.
We inside currently in our space, we have 2 orchids that lived beautifully for a long life and they've just recently met their demise. And then some succulents and a Christmas cactus that we've had in there, I mean, since the time we opened, so.
Well, facing east, you could put our orchids back.
Try again.
Try again.
I mean, they've been 7 years.
Is this UCO or CCO?
This is zone N.
So something brand new.
That's why these weird numbers, right?
Yeah.
What is I don't know, I've never even seen.
You're only the second variance we've considered under the new
I
code.
didn't
Is that
know
right? Yeah.
that at all. I looked at it like, where's the CCC?
And that's also why there's also, I don't know how to link to the middle of a PDF, so that's why all the links go to the beginning of the code, we just have to scroll through.
Yeah.
Just a clarifying, like on the first variance, is this a minimum building ceiling or a maximum building ceiling?
It was a minimum of 12 foot in the first floor.
So,
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's
really
tall.
but the variance that I got, remember from the city just said from 12 feet to 8 feet 10 inches. Do you want that to say from 8? Does that cover the rest of it as well?
So I guess I meant from the requirement of 12 feet to a mixture between 810 to 98, which is what we have in the proposed floor plan.
I just thought when I wrote this down from looking at the application, I only wrote to 8 feet 10 inches. Just want to know, when we tell the commission, do you want the variance to say from 12 feet to 8 feet 10 inches and varying with 9 foot 8 inches, or just to what you said, 8 foot 10 inches?
Yeah, 8 foot 10 is fine. I mean, we do get up to 9 foot 8. That's helpful context, but
You don't, yeah. It seems like what do you think, that might be needless complication? To say, the application says I know this is picky, but this is part of what we do, from 12 feet to 8 foot 10 inches. And what he was saying now is to a mixture between 8 foot 10 inches and 9. Do we leave it?
Well, just keep the lowest number.
Yeah.
The 8 feet 10.
They're not gonna come back at you for an extra foot up.
Yeah.
when
up
they-
to,
I mean, if the 810 is approved, of course the 9
The 9
is approved as well. So just stick with the lower
Yeah,
number.
and even if a future owner used that, they could get to a mixture by having one little spike.
yeah.
So that's, no, so we'll leave it. One suggestion is when you go to the commission, just delete those last few things, but that's also this is your application. You get to word it how you want to word it. And I'm a lawyer, but I'm a public defender, not a zoning lawyer, so I can't tell you what the
Yeah.
best way to do it is.
Did you consider potentially removing the curb cut entirely? Just out of curiosity, it seems as if even with the door facing west, you're still routing parents and children essentially through a drive aisle.
Yeah.
Which feels like a safety issue of a different type.
There was a conversation with the city around maintaining that entryway there. And so we designed it as such when we were going through our initial processes.
Is that part of preliminary site compliance?
Yeah, preliminary site compliance plan, yeah. So I'm not sure if that's a possibility that we might have to discuss, but
It might be something to look into.
Yeah.
Just to remove that vehicular conflict. It doesn't appear, unless I'm misreading the site plan, there is a sidewalk being provided.
I didn't
That's
bring it
like
up.
5 foot.
I didn't bring it up, but that was something that came up internally around, like even just entering that backside versus going around
Yeah.
is probably saving some,
it cuts down on the total conflict zone.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
well said.
Thank you.
They wouldn't need a new variance to do that, right?
No, that's not variance related.
Yeah. And it's the only, the main, and it's, safety is the only reason to design it, to put the door on the side.
And
On the backside.
On-
Yeah.
the west side,
Basically,
I thought it was
It's on the west side of
west
the
side
building.
of the building, the back where the
Which is-
parking lot is.
Yeah.
It's in that little jog
up.
on the west
That's
side
what
of the
we-
It's
expansion.
not on that, what you're looking for. It
There it
goes
is.
right there, right
Okay,
there.
I see,
See it?
yes.
So yeah, High Street would be off to the left there.
Which does not prevent another door being on the front side.
No, that's what I was thinking,
Right.
somebody
I
could
mean,
change
there's a table
that
sitting right
in the
there.
end.
Mm.
You're not gonna be breaking up the front of the building, somebody could add a door later on.
Yeah, for future use.
Yeah. I
You're not
don't,
doing anything permanent to.
well, and I said, I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon
Good.
either, you know?
Yeah.
I'm still pretty young in my career. I imagine I will be in this space for myself at least another 20 years and hopefully somebody beyond that, you know, maybe 25.
Well, if you need a bigger space after that, it's a good problem.
Yeah.
I know, I'm quit. I'm not getting any bigger than this. You'll
Yeah,
find
yeah,
yourself
yeah,
a
we
new
all say that
pediatric
when we're
dentist.
but then we don't stop.
It's a good point, though, a door could still be provided.
Oh,
Yeah,
The
yeah.
code does not require that said door is unlocked.
So my hesitancy with that is like, I see that all on High Street, like doors on the front and they say, don't use this. Like, for
Right.
example, immediately next door to me, Heartland Bank has a front door you're not allowed to use. Across the street, Kemba Bank doesn't allow you to use it. So for me, having a door there is still a risk if a kid figures out how to unlock it. And I just don't wanna have, and especially like in our current layout, the sensory room is up there in the front because it's away from the clinical space where all the noise is. I can't move it to the back because I have to have my surgical suite in the back of the office because that's where the tanks are. So there's all these like limitations on how I'm gonna lay it out. But I would love not to have to do that. I just,
Also might be a comment, the next
Yeah.
time we have a chance, the city asks for input on their code is say, if you're gonna require a door in the front, either require people to use it or don't
Just get
require
rid
it.
of the
Get rid
yeah,
of it.
it seems like a silly requirement.
It-
When I drive up and down High Street and see how many people are exclusively saying, do not use this entrance.
Understood. The one in the old Jimmy John's is a
Yeah.
classic.
Well, and that's the opposite.
No,
They built,
they did, yeah, they didn't,
Their doors are on the north side of the building,
right,
but that's a restaurant.
no, but they had to put a door on the front.
but they had the door in the front and then they had to get rid of it.
No, what they had to do is, the commission voted against the variances they wanted, which had nothing to do with the door. And so people were mad, but then they noticed that the front door had a step in front of it, and the
That's
step
what it
was in the
was.
city's right of way. So they had to build a door that no one, because then they had to take down their step.
Okay.
You can visit it anytime you want.
The old
There's a
Jimmy
little
John's.
step
I'll
stool
have to
there.
go-
It
I'll have
doesn't
to-
go to anywhere.
That's funny, I'll pay attention.
But
Okay.
maybe we'll mention that, we'll have at least a couple city people at the meeting, at least mention that issue about the front door. It doesn't, if they're not requiring people to use it, it doesn't make sense to require it, it just looks bad. Do not enter sign looks best, worse than a wall. Do we have other questions from the committee? Okay, anyone here come to comment on this? Yeah,
I'm as commissioner, so I live around the corner. Walk there a lot with my daughter going to school, so I really appreciate the comment about the curb cut.
Yeah.
Because it's an area with and the gym and all the restaurants, and every time there's accidents. And so for pedestrians, it's not safe if cars come out, and the cars that come out cannot see very well because there's cars parked. So I would highly recommend to close that off in terms of safety for everyone around, both for the drivers and the pedestrians. And it's very easy to come through the back. That's what most people do anyway. My other question is about what the facade is going to be, whether it's going to be brick, like all the other buildings.
Yeah, it's brick, kind of to match the North Star retail center there, kind of adjacent
And the other
style.
and the other concern is now the sidewalk width varies, and one of my friends lobbied the developer of the North Star building, but that on the south side, to make the sidewalk wider. So they cut the paths, make the patio smaller, so it was easier for people with wheelchairs to navigate that sidewalk. The side on the north side is smaller, and if your building goes all the way to the sidewalk, that leaves very little space for pedestrians or people with disabilities and wheelchairs. So it would be great if that's a part of the sidewalk was wider to accommodate people with disabilities. And I would look at what it's like at the south of Dealand. There it's wide enough, and there's lots of people walking. And if it's very narrow and there's nowhere you can escape, there's lots of fast traffic going on the High Street. So I'm concerned about that because it will be really very little space, no way to escape, and lots of fast going traffic.
Does it say on the, I think it says, is it 7 foot width on the sidewalk there? I think it says it on the site plan.
Is it, which one, you have to go back, is this?
Yes, that's correct. 7 foot, but very little of it is being replaced. It is generally staying.
Yeah, 7 foot.
Do you know what the width is of the other space off the top of your head? No, is
I
it
don't.
like 1 foot, 2 feet, 10 feet? I mean, you know, different.
I know it feels narrow there,
36
and it
inch
feels
clearance
much
as well.
wider south of Dealand, and much safer.
Yeah.
Does the sidewalk need to be replaced? What kind of shape
Just
is it?
like in terms of condition? Yeah,
I don't know.
it's a good question.
I'd have to take a closer look.
I thought they wanted, this code wanted the buildings right up on the street as much, on the sidewalk as much as possible. I can't find that. They
Yeah,
aren't
that's-
asking- They aren't asking for a variance from the setback, whatever setback rule applies.
Yeah, the code kind of encourages to go all the way up to
Yeah.
the code.
But the code doesn't require you to go to the sidewalk.
Correct.
You probably have a leeway like from 0 to 5 feet, something like that.
Something.
There's 21 foot 6 inches from the face of curb to the rest of the way, which is the building. And only 7 feet of that, which is the area along the street curb is. That's like that grass. So there's an additional 14 feet of lawn between the sidewalk and the building.
There's 14 feet of lawn between the sidewalk and the building.
But it
Presently.
could be.
It's called out on the plans as grass.
But the new structure is going right to the sidewalk,
It's not. The sidewalk is along
Yeah.
the curb.
right?
And then there is 14 feet of lawn, and then there is the building.
Yeah, I
Is
think
this
it's,
the sidewalk right here, or is the sidewalk start here?
that's the sidewalk
The
there.
sidewalk's out by the.
So I think it
So
was,
this- So this, the sidewalk is like here.
Yeah.
So,
the sidewalk is just to the left of where it's, you see that on the far right side, it says North High Street, and then there's a strip to the left there. I think it's got a 7 foot width.
oh yeah, it's a 7 foot walk, I see right here.
So there's
So this is.
there's
not-
space between.
Yeah, so
there
there's
is
there's technically 28, a little over 28 feet from the front of the building to the street.
I completely agree with you, because we're walking from like Stone Park up to Rusty Bucket or up to North Star, that like strip when High Street's flying.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm holding my kids like this,
Yeah.
and
Well, I go up to the restaurants and walk across that way.
right,
We
then,
cut down
that's like
through
a
the ravine or the
Do you have
down
any-
through the.
Do you have any plans for that? Is that, you currently plan to be concrete? This is the sidewalk right here. What do you plan for this area? Just to leave it as concrete?
The plan's called for grass.
Grass.
Oh, grass. Oh, I see.
So we can do a little
Was it building the
walls, we put like a little
Well, that's-
faucet.
It's
No,
not.
no, it's not, no, I understand. That's why we have these meetings,
Yes.
so that you don't do this, so the commission doesn't do this.
That's
You
what.
really- yeah,
Did you
Putting,
say because we will?
You say what?
What was your comment? Okay.
native plants always makes people happy. If you promise to put native plants in the right of way. That actually, I don't think that is at least somewhat related to the variance they want, because if they wanna move the door, it puts in some other element in the front, so it's not just wall and window. But yeah, but the problem is if you put that on the site plan and they die, then you could be, I think it might be a code violation if you don't fix
Like
it.
Rockies and the trees.
So, do we have any other comments before I put the motion? Oh, I guess I should put the motion, this is discussion on the table, motion to approve. The chair puts a motion to approve the application as submitted on the table. Do I have any further discussion? Okay, then it's
You know, it's those two plazas, you know, north and south of Eden on the west side of Pine Street are absolutely gorgeous. And they're functional. There's parking problems that, I mean, they're that well used, okay? I think as you go up High Street and on the west side, you start seeing that big brick wall, that takes away from the attractiveness. And I see that the check-in place is on the other side, so yeah, you want privacy, stuff like that. But again, I think window boxes, something like that, that has like giant toothbrushes in it or something, I don't know. But I don't want to lose that good look that we have going up the street. And I think the landscaping becomes important as well. So it becomes a flow, it becomes a continuation, instead of like, we got this, and oh, what's that? You know what I'm saying? I think some more thought needs to be given to that.
I will say we do window displays if you drive by my office currently, so we'll continue that in the lobby. We have giant snowflakes up now,
Right.
so
Yeah.
but
So
it's
something like
in
that.
it's in the lobby area, not in the functional space like where our office workers are.
Another
Yeah.
option could be, frosting. If there's a window there and it's frosted, it still meets that transparency requirement.
does frosted window mean transparency?
I believe it does.
Would like a logo there, would that be helpful?
You might need to end up coming back for a graphics variance, I don't know what the size.
Well, are you gonna have any signage besides? Where's this, okay, where's the signage?
Yeah. We haven't finalized that. We are considering that space there, and then there's actually some existing monument sign, which I believe is like
I think that's
10,000.
coming down because of the expansion.
There
That-
is.
Yeah.
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 That was my understanding.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you want to vote on these separately?
Yes.
So is that a motion to amend to consider them separately?
Yes.
Yes.
Or not,
All, unless there's discussion, all in favor of voting separately, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, you can vote separately. Then on the table is the first one, building form to reduce the first floor ceiling height from 12 foot to 8 foot 10 inches.
What's the follow-up question?
Oh, that's, oh, the question is called. Yes,
Yes.
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 chair votes yes, 5-0. Facade, to reduce the ground floor facade for transparency from 60% to 43%. Start with Diane.
I'm gonna say no, but I think this can be explored a little bit before the commission meeting, that you might have something to bring forward to them being satisfactory. And I, could be persuaded very easily, but I'm not on there, so it doesn't really matter. But I think a little more exploration of that might be helpful for you.
Make sure that that comment gets into the minutes. Okay.
That's a lot of multitasking.
Okay, now take your, we'll come back to you
Yes,
last.
thank you.
What?
Yes.
I'm gonna say no, kind of with Diane. I think that it needs to be investigated farther. It just becomes too much brick in something in an area of High Street that does not look that way. And I would really love to get into landscaping, but landscaping is not a variance request, so I mean, we really can't get into that. So I'm gonna say no to that. It needs to be more visually attractive.
Your turn.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well. That's a proof 3-2, but I think it doesn't really, it just, I don't think the exact, when its vote is that close, it tells the commission the vote is close. I think if it went 2-3 the other way, they would have looked at it the same way. So that just means, and
That's one of the reasons that we have our meeting so far ahead of the commission meeting,
Yeah.
to try to work out some of these
Yeah.
issues.
or you can explain why, no, we've looked at that and it can't work.
And can't happen, right?
Got it.
Building entries, 20.030 to not provide a building entrance on the Front Street facade. I'll start over here.
Yes.
I'm gonna be no on that one too. I mean, I hear what you said and it's anecdotal, but, no.
Yes, because I do think the safety concern should be held in a high standard. It's a hardship.
Okay.
I'm going to vote no, really for the same reason as Mike. I think there are alternative solutions for that 14 feet of space between the door and the sidewalk that could negate the safety concern.
The chair votes yes as well for the safety reasons. So all these go to the commission with a recommended approval. Everyone on the commission is different. We have 9 new faces except for him. He didn't vote here.
Another commissioner here.
Oh, our new
Hi.
commissioner. I need to make sure I can recognize our commissioners in there in the audience. And just, all these comments will go to the commission, so that's why people were commenting, we give them detailed minutes. And I wish the meetings start at 7, they usually don't have the zoning agenda on until after 8. But my guess is if you wait until 8 to show up, that'd be the one time they decided to do this. They got to the zoning agenda more quickly. So we'll see. And they also will have a projector and a screen in the back. That to use.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No. Kudos and thank you for keeping your business here in Clintonville and thanks for
Yeah.
thriving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we live here too, so we love that we get to,
Oh, what street?
we live on Amazon.
Yeah.
I love that I
absolutely.
live here, my kids go to school across the street,
Yeah.
so this,
Yeah, it's
it
a great
makes my heart
community.
happy to serve the people I live with.
You should walk to it.
I should walk to work. Usually I'm dropping kids off and then coming into work.
The multi.
That's the way I always use my excuse. Then I'm gonna run errands after.
Now, moving on to the next application. You're welcome to stay if you want. You can leave it. You're not forced to stay if you don't want to stay, but you're welcome if you want to stay.
Okay.
Up to you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
Very good luck.
thank you.
Thank you.
The next, let me pull this next one up.
I went past this house almost every single day. I'm gonna walk through the holiday around me. What street do you live in? The side of Cabinet, that side of Cabinet.
Okay, make sure I get the.
Oh, really?
Okay, the next, the second and final item on the agenda is BZA 25136, 3042 Midgard Road. To construct an addition to a detached garage with above storage space. Variances from private garage to increase the allowable height from 15 to 18 feet to increase, and from 333 through 2.38, saying what section to increase the allowable area for garage from 748 to 768. And are you the applicant?
Hi, yes. Should I come up there or?
You can see whatever you come.
Since it's just us now. Hi, yeah, I'm Jess. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at presentation. I don't usually do these. I'm Jess. I'm with Prime Construction. I'm the administrative manager. And yeah, so the Olsovskis would like to add an addition to their detached garage. The footprint wouldn't change. They currently have like a little lean-to coop, but they, we kind of want to do something a little bit cleaner, streamlined, and the priority being allowing the owners to make the best of their space to keep it organized, clutter-free. The addition itself the siding is going to match the existing white vinyl siding. The plan to do an aggregated standing seam, light gray metal roof to match the light gray on the existing garage. And then there'll be a total of 3 windows and a side access door. And then topography wise, nothing's gonna change. We won't be cutting down any trees or altering the landscape at all. It's on the rear of the detached garage, so it's in the back of the lot. And from the street, you'll mostly just see the addition that arises above the peaks, that the new peak will line up with the existing peak for symmetry's sake.
The commissioner for the district is not here, so.
Could I get your full name?
My name's Jessica Steiner, Steiner.
So that comes to questions from the committee. Okay, does the member of the public, does the commissioner in attendance wish to comment? Okay, then I'll put this on the floor. A motion to approve as submitted the application BZA 25136. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? I vote yes, part of that because I don't think we've ever turned down, the commission's ever turned down such a small variance to make things work. I'm sorry that I used to try to arrange things so that the simpler variances went first, but then I found myself guessing wrong sometime. I used to try to tell people, I told, things got so clear, I told someone once, no, they've never disproved this. This is we made arrangements in advance, talked to commissioners, it's okay, you don't show up for just this. And then opposition showed up.
Oh.
So no, that's, we made you sit through this just in case.
Right. It's
Learn
interesting
something
stuff,
new.
yeah.
But okay, then these go to the commission on December 4th, 7 p.m. and a reminder that our next meeting is December 17th, 2025, 1 week earlier than normal, assuming we get an application that comes in and we had a little bit more time for it to come in. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn or second, whichever you want.
Any opposed? Approved without opposition at 7:48.
Thanks, folks.